Some cars don't just transport you, they sell you a feeling before you even turn the key, a feeling of speed, confidence, and control. The kind of feeling that makes you think you've stepped into something special, something quicker than everything else on the road. And in Britain, especially from the 1960s through the 1990s, that feeling was everywhere. Badges like GT, Sport, Turbo, and XR weren't just names, they were promises. Promises that your everyday drive could suddenly become exciting, sharp, even a little dangerous in the best way. But here's the strange part. A lot of those promises were built more on image than reality. Cars that looked aggressive in brochures often felt completely different on the road. Some struggled to pull away cleanly. Others ran out of breath just when you expected the fun to begin. And a few only felt fast because they were noisy, stiff, and dramatic, not actually quick. And as we move down this list, the gap between expectation and reality only gets wider and more surprising. Because the car at number 1? It didn't just disappoint on paper. It fooled people in real life. Number 10. Ford Cortina 1600 GT. In the late 1960s, the Ford Cortina 1600 GT arrived when Britain was obsessed with affordable performance. It wasn't a real sports car, but Ford added just enough sporty touches to make it feel quicker than it really was. A twin-carb engine, a GT badge, and a slightly sharper look than the standard model. The idea was simple. Take a family saloon, add attitude, and sell excitement. And it worked. At first glance, people saw GT and immediately thought speed. But reality was different. On the road, it felt more like a regular family car with extra noise than a true performance machine. The engine sounded eager, but the acceleration was modest. Even ordinary rivals could keep up easily. Still, there was a trick to it. The light body and loud engine created an illusion of speed that fooled many drivers at the time. But once real performance cars arrived, the illusion disappeared fast. And that's where disappointment began. Because the GT badge promised more than the car could ever deliver. But the next car pushed that same idea even further, into something even more misleading. Number 9. Morris Marina, TC. By the early 1970s, British Leyland wanted a sporty family saloon, and the Morris Marina TC was their answer. Twin carbs, slight styling tweaks, and a performance label were added to a very basic platform. On paper, it sounded promising. A practical car with a bit more punch, something to make daily driving feel more exciting. But expectations quickly fell apart. On the road, the Marina TC struggled to deliver real pace. The engine made noise, but speed didn't follow. Acceleration felt slow, and overtaking required patience rather than confidence. The biggest issue was perception. It looked sporty and sounded sporty, but never truly felt fast. That gap between image and reality defined it completely. And over time, it became less a performance saloon and more a car that only pretended to be one. Still, people bought into the idea more than the reality. And just when that mismatch couldn't get worse, the next car stretched the illusion even further. Number 8. Austin Allegro 1750 SS. By the mid-1970s, British Leyland needed something fresh, and the Austin Allegro 1750 SS was meant to be the sporty version. Bigger engine, sharper name, and a hint of performance promise. On paper, it looked like a simple upgrade. A normal hatchback turned sporty, but reality didn't follow. Behind the wheel, it felt awkward rather than exciting. The steering was slow, the handling soft, and the engine never delivered the urgency people expected. It made noise, but not speed. The problem was clear. It wanted to be sporty, but underneath it was still a comfort-focused family car. That clash made the performance claim feel empty. So instead of a fun hatchback, drivers got a car that only looked sporty. And that difference said everything. Because even when it tried to be exciting, it never truly felt fast. And just as Britain was learning what a hot hatch should be, the next car tried to bring rally energy to the road but didn't fully escape its rough edges. Number 7. Vauxhall Chevette HS. In the late 1970s, Vauxhall built the Chevette HS as a rally-inspired compact car. Tuned engine, bold styling, and motorsport roots made it look serious. On paper, it had everything enthusiasts wanted. lightweight, aggressive, and linked to rally success. But reality was less polished. While it was quicker than a standard Chevette, it didn't feel refined or truly fast. The power delivery was uneven, and the ride was harsh. Instead of clean performance, it delivered noise and stiffness. Much of its reputation came from rally heritage, not road performance. So on normal streets, it felt more rough than rapid. It wasn't slow, but it wasn't the pocket rocket people expected either. And that gap between image and reality defined it, because it looked like a rally hero, but behaved more like a road car still trying to catch up. And the next one takes that sporty branding idea even further, in a much more modern disguise. Number 6. Rover 200 BRM. By the late 1990s, Rover tried to bring excitement back with the 200 BRM. British Racing Motors branding, green paint, and orange accents made it stand out instantly. On paper, it looked like a proper performance hatch. But expectations were higher than reality. The engine was decent, but not aggressive. It felt more refined than fast, more smooth than sharp. Even the driving feel leaned toward comfort, not excitement. So while it looked like a hot hatch, it didn't behave like one. That mismatch left enthusiasts disappointed. It's remembered more for its design than its speed. And just when Rover tried to revive racing spirit, the next car goes even deeper into the gap between promise and performance. Number 5. Triumph Dolomite Sprint. In the 1970s, Triumph introduced the Dolomite Sprint with a bold claim, a 1.6-valve engine in a compact saloon. It sounded like a breakthrough. On paper, it promised real performance, a small British car that could finally compete with proper sports machines. But reality wasn't consistent. At times, it felt quick, but the power delivery wasn't smooth or always strong. The performance came in bursts rather than steady excitement. So instead of a true sports saloon, it became a car that promised more than it reliably delivered. Still, its engineering reputation kept its name alive. And just when Triumph focused on innovation, the next car relied more on image than engineering. Number 4. MG Maestro Turbo. By the late 1980s, MG introduced the Maestro Turbo, a boxy hot hatch with aggressive styling and turbo power. On paper, it sounded wild, a street fighter built to surprise sports cars, and at times it felt fast. But the turbo delivery wasn't smooth. It could feel strong one moment, unpredictable the next. The handling also didn't fully match its aggressive look. It wanted to be sharp, but didn't always feel controlled. So instead of a refined performance hatch, it became loud and slightly chaotic. It wasn't slow, but it wasn't the polished turbo machine people expected. And that mismatch made it memorable for the wrong reasons, because it looked like a fighter, but didn't always behave like one. And the next car takes turbo hype even further. Number 3. Ford Escort RS Turbo. In the 1980s, the Escort RS Turbo became an icon. Wide arches, RS badge, and turbocharged power made it look serious. People expected a small rocket, and it was quick but not perfect. Turbo lag, sudden power delivery, and uneven response made it less predictable than expected. It felt exciting but not always controlled. It demanded respect rather than rewarding full confidence. Some loved that raw character. Others expected more refinement from an RS badge, so it became iconic but slightly overhyped in pure performance terms. And just when Ford perfected the hot hatch formula, the expectations only got bigger from here. Number 2. Jaguar XJS V12. When Jaguar launched the XJS V12, it was meant to replace the E-Type. That alone created huge expectations. Long bonnet, luxury cabin, V12 engine, it promised grand touring perfection. And it delivered power. But the weight changed everything. It felt more like a luxury cruiser than a sharp sports car. Fast, yes, but not always thrilling. It preferred comfort over aggression, cruising over attacking roads. So while it became respected over time, many still saw it as a softer successor to a legend, because replacing the E-Type was never going to be easy. But the final car didn't struggle with expectations. It fooled people completely. Number 1. Reliant Scimitar GTE. The Scimitar GTE looked special from every angle. Sleek shooting brake design, sporty stance, and even royal connections gave it a performance image. People expected something fast and unique, and it delivered style, but not real performance, because underneath the design, it was more of a comfortable grand tourer than a sharp performance machine. The shape promised speed, but the driving experience stayed calm and relaxed. That contrast created the biggest illusion on this list. People felt like they were driving something fast, even when they weren't. And that's what made it unforgettable. Because sometimes, a car doesn't need to be fast to feel fast, it just needs to look like it is. If you enjoy stories like this, don't forget to subscribe.